Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Kitty. On my channel, I do like to do scary stories. I am going to get into telling stories of my personal life here soon. I do makeup related videos, vlogs, shopping hauls, and I do a lot of live streams. So if you like one of those things that I mentioned, make sure to subscribe to my channel right now. As you can tell by the title, today is going to be another scary story video. For those of you who are new and want to tune in, you are free to check it out. But what we do here is I'll get stories emailed to me from my viewers here, and I read them here for the first time with you guys. So let's get into the first story. Hey Kitty, I'm from Tucson, Arizona. I love listening to your spooky stories. This story took place during the 1950s in the Mexican state of Chihuahua. My maternal great great grandfather broke up with his girlfriend at the time. After that, he kept getting sick, so he went to the medicine man. However, none of the remedies the medicine man gave him worked. The medicine man said, "This has to be black magic done by your ex-girlfriend since nothing has worked." The medicine man then said to my great-great-grandfather, "You will see an unusual animal around your house. When you do, you are to beat the animal. Then go to your ex-girlfriend's house the next day and check on her." Mm. A few days later, my great-great-grandfather noticed an unusual, creepy black dog that would not leave his house, so he beat the dog with a stick, and the dog left. The next day, my great-great-grandfather went to his girlfriend's house to check on her, and she was beaten up. My great-great-grandfather no longer got sick. The end. All bad. That was pretty short story, but thank you for sending that in. That's crazy. Why would you do that to someone you love, first of all? Oh man, love makes you do crazy things though. Yeah, I was toxic once upon a time, so never mind. Yeah, I can't speak on that. Let's get into the next story. Hello Kitty. It's been about a year since I've been debating to send this story in. I had to ask a few people who were involved if it was okay for me to share. Anywho, I have lots of stories, but this one takes the whole damn cake. It might kind of get complicating because my whole family was involved, but I will use fake names if need be. Okay, so this happened about 5 years ago here in New Mexico, Albuquerque. A few events were happening to us in the household, but nobody was saying anything, so we didn't scare one another. At this time, my nephews were a lot smaller, so we didn't want to scare them either. My boyfriend and I were hearing a baby cry at certain times of the night, but we lived in the house downtown Albuquerque, so we figured it could be neighbors. Anyway, little did we know my brother was also hearing that, but he wasn't saying anything or telling anyone. My dad also experienced hearing footsteps in the hall or someone jiggling the doorknob when he was in the shower. Again, he didn't tell us either. All these experiences didn't come out until the night all of this went down. On this night, my sister wanted to eat out for dinner, so we all agreed on Buffalo Wild Wings. My dad was out of town working, and he wasn't home this particular night. He worked the railroad, so he could only come back like every 2 weeks. My brother was out with his friends, so it ended up being just my sister, her three boys, my boyfriend, and me. After we got done eating, my sister wanted to go to Walmart, but we wanted to go home because we had my brother's food. My boyfriend, me, my oldest nephew went home. When we got there, my brother was just sitting on the front porch, which was odd because we all had a house key. We asked him what he was doing, and he looked so scared and pale. He told us he got back 15 minutes before we did and said the back door was being knocked on as well as all the windows around the house. He freaked out and didn't want to be inside alone. My boyfriend isn't scared. He's the type to just get mad. So he went inside and started talking loud that whoever was there wasn't welcome. We all ended up going inside, trying not to be scared. We started smudging down the house. My sister's room was at the end of the hall, and we literally seen someone peek out from her closet. I screamed, and my boyfriend ran to her room and started looking everywhere, talking smack, of course. We found a weird attic in her closet, which was never noticed. There was a very small opening, and the boards were moved like someone went in or out. My boyfriend went up there and said that the whole attic was only 3 feet in height and maybe about 4 by 4 in space. We called my sister asking where they were and what had happened. Just then, someone started pounding on the back door, and my boyfriend ran out again with flashlight and said to reveal themselves. He told us to get our clothes, so we did, and we left. There's a gas station nearby, so we just parked there until my sister got there. We called my aunt and my cousins, and they all came over. At this time, it was around 11 p.m. at night. My grandpa is also a medicine man, so we called my mom, and they started having a ceremony right away. We left the kids in the car with 2 of my cousins and went back into the house to get a few things we needed as well as our family pipe. My family is a mixture of Navajo and Lakota. We are very traditional, so getting the pipe was our main goal. My boyfriend and brother ran back to the house. They seen a long, flimsy figure in the hall. They were standing at the living room window. My brother froze. He said he couldn't move or stop looking at it until my boyfriend touched him. My boyfriend seen it after. He's a different tribe. He was trying to use his spit to spit at it and make it go away. He also froze when locking eyes with it. After that, everyone went in. My aunt had us all put sage in our ears. She started talking, asking what this entity wanted, and immediately we all started hearing a weird backwards dialect. Ew. Oh my gosh. We couldn't make anything out. It was a weird language. The kitchen cabinets and drawers all opened at once. My aunt said to all of us to get out. We all left and got a room for the night. My mom called us back and said my grandpa said he sees 2 entities around the house and that we couldn't sleep there that night. After that night, my mom and grandparents came because it was bothering them, the thing that we experienced. It's about a 5 hour drive for them, but they made it the next day. We had a ceremony, and my grandpa literally laid out everything we all been experiencing at the house. A few months before we turned on the heater, it smelled real gross and like something died or was burnt was coming from the vents. We never told anyone. He told us before we got to tell him that we had a basement which was only accessible from the back porch. There was a board on there that the landlord had set up. When you lift it, there's stairs down there to the bottom. My grandpa, boyfriend, and brother went down there. My boyfriend said the same. It smelled. He said most of the basement of the house was burnt. Like the ceiling of the basement was burning and it was all charcoal down there. My grandpa then told us that the house was supposed to burn with all of us in there in a deep sleep and nobody was supposed to make it out alive. Everything just made sense and it all came together after this ceremony, after all of us telling him the things we were hearing and experiencing. This house was odd. It's like nobody was ever comfortable to be there alone. After this, we moved immediately. We wanted nothing to do with that house. Through ceremonies, we found out it wasn't the house that was haunted, but someone who let into our group of family friends who was doing this to all of us. Like I said, we are very traditional and we all sing and dance. We have a drum group with a powwow family where we all travel together to sing and dance. This person's goal was for all of us to fall apart and go our separate ways. Small things were happening to us throughout traveling that all made sense this night. It's crazy how to this day that one individual who was behind this, no one has seen them. He's from here and lives here, but like why all of a sudden he doesn't exist? Before this, he was at a powwow and we would see him often. Up to now, I have not seen this guy once. We all ask each other from time to time and no one has seen or heard from him. So wild. This is the most wickedest thing that has happened to me. I hope you enjoyed the story. I'm sorry it's long, but I really wanted to get as much detail as I could. Although I did have to leave out some parts that were a little too tradish to be on YouTube. I will be sending in more stories. This was my longest story I've had. Have a great night, Kitty, and smudge before you go to bed. I'm sure it's about 3 a.m. when you're reading this. Usually I do these videos really late at night, but this time it's 10:40 at night, so we're good. Unfortunately, my battery is about to die and I don't want to keep filming, so I'm going to cut this video short. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to like this video. Make sure to send in your story, or maybe you know someone else that has a story. Let them know. Or maybe someone told you a story and you know it well enough to retell it. Email me. My email is always going to be whatwouldkittydo12@gmail.com. We would love to hear your story. So make sure to send in your story. That way it can make it onto an upcoming video. Thank you guys for watching. As always, we'll see you in the next video. Bye.